Hi everyone, my name is Brittany DeRupa, and today I'm presenting my creating technology project, and I focused my project on creating lessons for a flipped classroom environment. So before I get into my lessons, I kind of wanted to explain a little bit of the background with my school district. Um, Up until this year, the technology resources were very scattered throughout the district. Some schools were completely one-to-one. Some only had fourth and fifth grade. Some only had fifth grade. My school in particular last year, only fifth grade teachers, so two classrooms, had Chromebooks one-to-one for their students. The fourth grade teachers across the district, we all ended up receiving them in about April. So in the fall, we had passed a bond, and a lot of the money of the bond was used towards getting technology for our school. So now, entering the 2018-2019 school year, all students in grades 3 through 5 have Chromebooks, and kindergarten through second grade teachers will be one-to-one with iPads. They'll have an iPad cart. The middle school and high school, I believe, are also receiving Chromebooks. However, as I'm elementary, I'm not as familiar with the types of resources that they have. So it's definitely a transition trying to figure out, what you could be using with the technology we had available in April. It'll be a nice start to this school year to be able to implement things right from the get-go and set expectations and roll them out the correct and appropriate way. So I didn't really pick a specific unit that I wanted to create lesson plans for. When I looked at this module, I really kind of thought about my goals for the upcoming school year and where I wanted to improve and how I could use this in my classroom, because I feel like there's so many times with classes that we've had to create things and I don't always use them. They're more like I've created them because I had to. And I was really excited for this module because I feel like I've created two lessons and things that I can definitely use and create within my expectations for my students this year. So my goal is eventually to run a flipped classroom. Since I'm new at it, I'm not going to just right off the bat start my school year off as completely flipped. I'm going to have to, slowly introduce and implement things as I'm comfortable and as my students need them. So last year, our district focused a lot on having a math coach come in, and she would meet with us bi-monthly and really helped us to improve our math instruction with small groups, with coaching, and it was just a really great experience. And one thing that she really stressed was number talks and math talks. And while this is something I've heard of before, I wasn't implementing them in the best way. And after watching her implement math talks and then implementing them in my own classroom, I thought that using technology with a math talk would be a great thing that I could do this year. And so one of my lessons focused on that. The next piece for me is guided reading. So my first 3 years of teaching, I only taught math and science. And so my fourth year teaching, I switched grade levels, and I was also becoming an ELA reading teacher. And so I love teaching, and I just never had the experience before. So I definitely feel like I'm always looking to improve in that area. Last year was my first year at my current district, and learning the way that they would like their guided reading block and program set up was new and a little bit unfamiliar to me. I feel like I definitely have the hang of it now. But this year they have two reading coaches who will be working with teachers as well. And so this summer, one of my priorities was becoming comfortable with the curriculum that we have and preparing myself so that I can have a great guided reading block. And so one of my lessons also focuses on how I could implement guided reading. So we'll start with math. I wanted to use Flipgrid with Mathematics with my math talk. So if you look on my wiki, my a number talk, it helps build number sense in the elementary classroom. So students have to basically solve like a calculating problem in their head. They can't use a pencil, they can't write it down, so it forces them to move away from using your traditional algorithms that, you know, how the ways we learn to add and subtract and multiply and divide, and really manipulate numbers, and it allows them to have a deeper understanding of the math that they are learning. So normally when I have a math talk, we're all at the group at the carpet, and, you know, I'll write a problem on the board and I'll give students think time to solve the problem in their head. And then we will write all of the possible ways they solved it on the board. So, you know, I'll go through and I'll solve it the exact way that students solved it, whether it's right or wrong. And we kind of talk about the different ways. We look to see where students made errors. We look to see if there's new ways, if there's something that we had never thought of before, if maybe it's a new method that we want to try. And so I thought that it might be cool to try this with Flipgrid. Now, I don't think that I would completely replace Math Talks with Flipgrid, but this might be a great idea for me to use if maybe I didn't get enough number talks in for the week, or if, you know, maybe students are finishing early. It would just be a good resource or a quick way for me to get in a math talk, especially if I'm running out of time. So I created a board within my classroom, and it's really easy to do. And so right now I just kind of wrote a problem, solve the problem mentally. I just kind of wrote numbers down. Normally I'd have a lot more thought into the kinds of numbers I would be using, because I want students to be able to compose and decompose and try different methods and not just be stuck on the traditional method. And so what you do is students would very easily click the plus sign, and they would be required to record a video explaining the way that they solved their math problem. So they could press record. The lighting in here is not the best, sorry guys. And just kind of explain how they solved it. I want, you know, I want them to take us through step by step. And when they're done recording, they would hit this, and then they click next. The lighting in here is not the best, sorry guys. And just kind of explain how they solved it. I want, you know, I want them to take us through step by step. And when they're done recording, the lighting in here is not the best. So then you can press next, and then students take a picture of themselves. A lot of them like that, and it just kind of is their cover of their video. So I always, when I do Flipgrids, I make it so that I have to approve their video, so I kind of watch it beforehand. What I would have them do in the lesson is I would have them solve the problem, and then they, when they are done, they would be responsible to watch other students' videos. Now, I would want them to watch other videos so that until they found someone who solved the problem a different way than themselves. If they could not find that, then I want them to try solving the problem using a different strategy. And so I wish that Flipgrid had a way to where students could comment on each other's, but unfortunately I couldn't figure that out. So if you're watching this and you know a way, I would really appreciate you sharing that with me, because I was messing around, and that would have been great for me. I would have loved that, to be able to have students respond to one another. But overall, I like this way because it's showing, you know, different higher level thinking skills. Students are solving it in different ways, and they are interacting with one another. Flipgrid's really easy to share because, I mean, you just have to share the link. Now, there's different privacy settings, so I just had a password on here that students could sign in with, but you can also limit users based on their email domain. So if you wanted to make it just specific to your school district's email, you can do that, which is nice as well. It's also nice because I feel like then this is going to be a board that's saved and students can always go back if if they're unfamiliar with a certain strategy, they can go back and rewatch until they understand it, which I think is great. So I'm kind of at 10 minutes, so I'm going to kind of talk a little bit faster. The other piece I wanted to talk about was Padlet and vocabulary acquisition. So vocabulary is a big thing in my district. We focus heavily on it, especially around end-step vocabulary and smarter balanced words and common core words, really making sure students understand those words before they take standardized tests. So with Padlet, it's really easy to make, and what's nice is there are a ton of different options to lay it out. I think for vocabulary, I would just kind of do a wall because it packs it in nicely. For a KWL chart, I've made a shelf because you have columns and you could do things like that. So it's super easy to make. I would have this based on probably the novel. So we read The Tiger Rising in 4th grade, and then I would just make it a focus on vocabulary. So my goal is to, I would introduce words, and students could introduce or post words that they find while we're reading The Tiger Rising as well. And so in my directions, I said that I wanted students to, put a word. So for example, you might just put tiger. And then they need to define the word. So we could say that a tiger is a jungle cat that has stripes and is orange. And then they should use the word in a sentence. So the tiger is in a cage. And then finally, one thing I have them do is find a picture to help them remember the word. So what's nice is I could just click this Google search, and if I like the picture, I can just click on it and it adds it right there. So I love this because then we'll have a collection of words. Students are able to comment on one another's posts. You can also make this to moderate, so if you don't want them to automatically post and you want to review it, you can. Some of the disadvantages might be that, students might be posting incorrect words, or but you could make it a learning experience. Students could edit each other's, they could comment and correct things. So I just think it's really nice to have this whole resource available that they can add to as we work through a unit. They could also, if they're at home and forgot their materials, a link is so much easier to pull up than, bringing a book home or things like that. Let me see what else I have on here. Yeah, I think that's basically it. Oh, another thing about Padlet, unfortunately, is if you are using the free version or free account, you can only make 3 Padlets. I mean, you could delete them and reuse, but if you wanted to save something throughout the year, you can't do that for more than 3 unless you want to pay. So that's kind of a disadvantage. But, sometimes you can talk to your principals and admin and they will allow you to, purchase licenses. I've had PTO pay for memberships of things before, which is also really nice. So that is my creating project. They're 2 simple ways, but I feel like they're meaningful ways and they're things that I can use in my classroom more than just once. Like I don't have to, it just wouldn't be a one-time lesson. They're both things that we could do again and again and students could become more familiar with. So I'm very excited to implement this into my classroom this year.